Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it is Monday, so we're doing a Monday moment. And yesterday, another YouTube clip dropped on Dennis's YouTube channel, and it was about a very big, important event that happened on his birthday last Friday. In his hometown of Braunschweig, he got to sign the Golden Book. Now, the Golden Book is basically a book that is in his community that important people of accomplishment get to sign. And this book isn't something that just came around recently. This is like a book that's been around for like hundreds of years. So it is a very big deal. It's kind of like getting the Order of Canada or something like that for that small town in Germany. It's actually not a very small town. It's about a quarter million people that live there in Lower Saxony. So I was doing a little research on Dennis's hometown in Braunschweig, and very interesting place. It is considered a scientific hub in the country of Germany. There's a lot of research and science that's being conducted. There's a very intelligent city. It's an older city, and it's a city that has done very well throughout the years in the country of Germany. So Dennis, born in this city, is a favorite son right now. They had a clip come out yesterday where he basically is with the mayor, I believe, is a politician of some sort, and he's talking about him and brings him out, and then he signs this book. And he gets to write his name real big. He gets the whole page. He does a big, huge D and an S and then number 17. And then he writes in it, "Hard work pays off," is what he wrote in that book. And it was a beautiful moment. I mean, he's there with his wife, his brother, his mother, his entourage. All of his people are there with him. And, it's a big deal. It was kind of a ceremonial kind of thing. It's the highest accomplishment that he can get from his hometown where he lives is to sign the Golden Book. So in some ways, Dennis was having one of the best birthdays of his life. I think he may have had one of the best birthdays ever in his life last Friday when he got to sign the Golden Book and got a hero's welcome from his hometown. He went out into this veranda at one point in the clip and stood on the just like a political leader would and waved to the people, the masses. And there was a little town square with buildings all around it that was absolutely jammed full of citizens from Braunschweig. And this is the thing, as Dennis said, I can go to Berlin, I can go to Frankfurt, which he did today, by the way. I can go to these cities and I can expect this amount of turnout of people showing up and celebrating in those cities where there's so many people, like millions of people. But in my small little hamlet, my little quarter million people town that I live in, to see everybody come out and support and cheer me on in this town square feels real good. And it was funny. There were like kids with basketballs and different items trying to throw them up to him on the balcony, and he would catch them and sign them real quick and throw them back down to him. It's hilarious. He was doing pretty good at catching them. It seemed like that was tough to do. Like, I don't know. Why would you want people to just start throwing things at you like randomly? He had to kind of point at you next, because honestly, if they all threw all their stuff all at once, it could get messy. You get real messy real quick. One kid had his shoe up like this, like he wanted to throw his shoe at Dennis. I'm like, don't throw your shoe at him. And why would he want to sign your shoe in the first place? So pretty interesting stuff. He was just on cloud nine. You could tell. Ellen beaming with pride about her husband. His mother also very much beaming with pride. Just really fantastic content once again on Dennis's YouTube channel, where you get the inside look and see everything. Like Dennis said when he got up to say his thing, I don't have a speech prepared, so I'll just speak from my heart. And that's the way he is. I always do that. I like that about him. In some ways, there's an authenticity and a straight upness about DennisSchroder that I really like and I want in a Raptor. So him being no bullshit, but being all about the right things is good. And I like that. I like that. He speaks from the heart. And well, he said a lot. He said a beautiful speech when he just kind of riffed and went off and didn't really have it organized. He said exactly the right kind of words. And he was very well spoken without being prepared. So, what a great, fantastic clip. Once again, we have been pushing these channels on y'all like crazy. Monique is talking about them. I'm talking about them. Y'all go follow Dennis Schroder, first of all, Ellen Schroder, second of all, his brother Shay, third of all. Go follow Joel, follow Mikey, follow all of them. Follow Dennis's little nephew, Shay's little son. Follow every single one of them if you want to, because there's a lot of content around them and all kinds of stuff. I'm hoping that they're getting about to pack up and get over here soon. Of course, Monique was talking directly to Shay yesterday, Dennis's older brother, telling her that, yeah, they're excited about coming to Toronto and that the whole crew's coming with them, that he's coming. And I don't know if mom's coming too. Maybe mom's coming over too. So we'll have to see. The Schroder family will be based in the city of Toronto this year. And I love it. Let's make it more years than this, especially if it goes really, really successful. So, yeah, great Monday moment. Dennis Schroder signs the Golden Book in Braunschweig, his hometown, one of the highest honors you can get in his home community, and on his birthday to boot. What is not to like? Living life, winning, and having a great, great life. MVP, 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 MVP. Yeah, that's what they were saying in that square when he came out and stood on the balcony. MVP. That's right, baby. Yeah. All right, let's see what y'all are saying in here real quick. Evelyn's first in. Here's to a good morning and even better day, Raptor Freak family. There you go, Evelyn. Chin to your cup of coffee there, Evelyn. Always happy to see Granny Evelyn. Mo's saying good morning, Raptor Freak family. Shay, thank you. That is all. Hope you that Golden Book gives more luck to Dennis. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Dennis is having a charmed life right now. He's riding a wave of good fortune right now, and let's hope this continues right on in to working with Darko Rajakovic and the Raptors. We're seeing some very interesting clips over the last couple of days of people working out. First of all, Siakam working with Earl Watson at Rico Hines at UCLA, working very hard, very, very hard. The clip of Pascal right now that's up from yesterday is very inspiring. You can find it in most places. Earl Watson's social media is a very good place to go find it. But yeah, Siakam's putting that work in like he always does. We know he's doing this. And when he comes back, he's going to be even more of a badass this year. I have total confidence in Pascal Siakam that he's going to continue to get better and better as a player. Sometimes these better players that are really good, you don't really see much gains in year in, year out. Jason Tatum, you're good, man. You probably will be good again this year. But are you making the gains and doing the work like our guy Siakam's doing right now? I don't know if that's true. Because in some ways, this man, he got a bag and he could sit at home and, rest on it or just be who he is. No, he's pushing it even further. And we know Siakam's doing that. So I'm excited about it. Plus, that clip has got Scotty's approval on it, too. And in a comment, he's like saying elite in the comment about Siakam. So, this pairing of Siakam and Barnes, people have always like, they can't fit together. That's bullshit. These guys love playing together, and they're excited about this. I love the football pass between Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam from years ago in the bubble, from those bubble playoffs that's being circulating right around on Twitter right now. That pass is amazing. Basically, somebody put a post because it's football again, NFL starting up again, and people are saying, what's the best football pass in the NBA in its history? And people are citing one of those football passes that Lowry used to throw all the time. Of course, Lowry's the best quarterback in the NBA, y'all. Come on. Philadelphia Eagles favorite, Villanova product. Kyle Lowry is the best quarterback in the NBA. You can say it. You can ask. Go look around, and you can ask anybody if that man can throw a full court pass like it's a forward pass in football. Yeah. So that clip of Siakam just barely catching it over the defender where he looks like a badass wide receiver, like a Terrell Owens or a Randy Moss of the day, is just getting it right over the guy. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful clip. And I think Siakam is a great wideout. And I think that Kyle Lowry is the best quarterback in the NBA. I'll proclaim this. Kyle Lowry is the greatest quarterback in the NBA. I don't know about all time, but he's definitely the greatest one right now. I don't know anybody else who throws full court passes like him. I don't like that best at like that pinpoint and through traffic and just beautiful like that. Lowry really is like that. All right, another clip coming out this weekend of working out here in Toronto is our Ducks. Yeah, we got our Ducks in a row with Slim Duck and Dylan Brooks Duck showing up and working out in Toronto. The clip of Chris Boucher and Dylan Brooks, best friends, working out in Toronto in a run was really cool. I thought I saw David O'Banner in that run also, which is good. And the young Raptor Exhibit 10's trying to get some grind and get some follows in there. But Dylan looked fantastic. Dylan has such a weird shot. The way he shoots is weird. Like he gets all like, ugh, like that and weird. And he's like very hurry and side to side and like trying to mess you up kind of things. He has a weird motion to his body. But it was very cool to see Chris and him playing pickup basketball in Toronto this in recent days, getting up and down the court. So Chris is back from St. Lucia. Dylan is back in Toronto, and they're hanging out and they're working out. So I like seeing that. That's a very, very good thing. All right, let's keep going in the chat. Trevor J saying, good morning, Raptors family. Good morning to you, Commissioner Trevor J. It was so nice and so much fun being at the game yesterday. He was at a WNBA playoff game, the Las Vegas Aces versus Chicago Sky. I got to meet a lot of the players. I'm also Candace Parker, and this game was sold out. Wilson Creed Hill history. I'm not sure what that means. Wilson made history again, or is that what you're saying? 38 points, 16 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 4 steals. Aja Wilson, yeah, she's a very good player, and Las Vegas is very, very good. You know what Trevor did yesterday that I really like is he said that he went up to Candace Parker and he said, if you guys come to Toronto, if the WNBA comes to Toronto, you're going to have the best fan base here in Toronto to support a WNBA team. I don't know what she said to him back, Trevor, but this is good, man. You're doing the frontline work to push to get a WNBA franchise here in the 416, and I appreciate you for it, Trevor J. Thank you for putting that out and talking to WNBA people at the game yesterday about Toronto and getting the game here. Who knows? Listen, they hear it from the fans. They'll be like, look, they're this excited that this Canadian guy is here in Vegas right now, and he's telling me that they want the team in Toronto. That can't hurt. That cannot hurt, Trevor J. So thank you for coming to a great Raptors brother. I mean, a great Raptors sister, Candace Parker, the sister of Anthony Parker, who used to play for us, and telling her that Toronto wants a team. I'm sure she knows a bit about Toronto because Anthony played here way back in the day. That's right. Thank you, Trevor J. And his words of wisdoms are when Perez becomes your habit, prayers, I'm guessing when prayers become your habit, miracles become your lifeline. Give your heart to God, trust in him. I hope you're not mean Perez Hilton or somebody else like Perez. He means prayers. When prayers become your habit, miracles become your lifeline. Give your heart to God, trust in him. That may be part of the reason why Trevor J went to WNBA playoff game yesterday. He's been praying and good things would happen to him. And well, a good thing happened to him. His boss said, let's go to Vegas and let's go see this. Trevor, you're in Vegas right now. I may need you to go dip around the corner and see if you can see you two on the street playing a video out in the middle of the street, Atomic City or something like that. And then they got their Sphere running down there, that crazy round building with all the crazy stuff going on around it. Trevor, you go sightseeing and check out the Sphere for us, please. Please. David Saborin is here. Raptor Freak Trivia Champion, David Saborin in the house. Good morning to you, David. I hope you're very well this Monday. Cool Cat is here. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Good morning to Cool Cat, one of the most knowledgeable, best Raptor Freaks in the house. We love you, Cool Cat. Hope you're starting your week off right at work. MSJ saying you have to think Dennis is going to have a good season for the Raptors. You have to. I mean, let's think about this, Chris. Let's think about this. How could he have a bad season? I don't know. He could get hurt. Knock on wood. We don't want that to happen. He could have like weird dysfunction because of not getting played correctly because of Darko. I don't think that's likely because Darko and him are familiar with each other. They know each other very well, and there's a trust there already. So even if Darko's asking him to do stuff that he may not necessarily want to do, like come off the bench or maybe not be this or this, Dennis has no ego in this. That's the one thing about Dennis. Just because he was the MVP of this tournament, just because he's the number one for Germany, doesn't mean he wants to be the number one for the Raptors. He knows his role. That's the thing. The Rock showed back up on the SmackDown this weekend. Well, Dennis knows his role. And I'm not worried about that derailing him. I mean, what could it be, Chris? I really don't see it unless, because like in some ways, it's like the doses of Dennis that we get this year should be small and building as the year goes on, as he gets more familiar with the players. He shouldn't be coming out and trying to dominate or ball hog at all. I don't see that. So I don't know. I don't know how this could be a bad season for him. I think this is going to be a very good season for him. In fact, there's things about DennisSchroder's game that really are a fit with the Raptors style of what they've been doing the last couple of years. Aggressiveness on the ball, very, very crazy, intense defense. These guys are going to still play top defense. Well, we got in some ways, a better defensive quick guard at this point. The other thing about Dennis that we're all lauding and very happy about is his ability to quicken the pace in the game. Like, he's not somebody who waits around. We saw how hurry up Germany's offense was as far as he pushing that ball up the court, and he's looking for somebody to throw it to for an easy layup or a quick three in the corner without delaying or reading the court for like 10 seconds, like walking up and looking around. No, he's pushing it and he's going. And if somebody's running with him and they want a lob, he's throwing it up for them. So I don't know. I think you're right. We have to think he's going to have a good season. I think that they're going to be badass this year. A lot of people are coming out with their predictions for this year. And some people are actually putting some respect on the Raptors and putting them in their top 6 in the East. Some people are following the line of the media line back down south that thinks that we're going to be like 12th or one of the worst teams in the East. I think that the people that are betting on the Raptors are going to be pleasantly surprised that they were right by the time this all gets figured out as the season starts. Because listen, there's things about the Raptors that just make a good basketball team, whether it's an incredible flexibility and versatility with a lot of the players as far as what all they can do on the court, an incredible athleticism, an incredible work ethic, a really, really top-notch like kind of athleticism. In some ways, the Raptors are one of the most stud athletic teams in their whole entire history right now. That championship team had veteran guile and veteran experience and a lot of good intangibles. But in some ways, it didn't have the athletes that we have on our team that right now, that we have some insanely athletic, good athletes on our team right now. So, man, I don't know, Chris, and I don't want to pretend figure out how it would happen that it would go bad, because I only see things going to be good. Like you're saying, that's right. Cool Cat saying it's great that Dennis is receiving all these accolades. It will be great for his confidence joining the Raptors this fall. Also, Raptors team members will respect his achievements. Yeah, that last part's a big part of it. Listen, come on. Like, this is really good timing. When we signed Dennis, in some ways, I was like, I hope these guys will respect him. Well, after what he did at FIBA World Cup, if they don't respect him, they're idiots. They have to, because seriously, the whole league is respecting him. In some ways, certain guys got a lot of respect from this tournament. Dylan Brooks, SGA, DennisSchroder, the Latvian team, they got a lot of respect from this FIBA World Cup. And Dennis, it should, listen, he won't be arrogant about it. But, people like Scotty, Koloko, Precious, those guys will see what he did. And they're like, man, that's an accomplishment. And in some ways, I'm really proud of you, even though I don't really know you and you're my new teammate. But I'm like proud of you just to be associated with you on my team in some ways. That could be part of the byproduct. Listen, Scotty's not a hater. Scotty likes accomplishment and hard work and dudes that have it. And he has to respect him. In some ways, he has no choice. If Scotty likes LeBron and LeBron absolutely signs off on DennisSchroder and makes him look like a badass. Carmelo, all these old greats that Scotty grew up loving are all in awe of Dennis right now. So it's kind of like, yeah, Scotty's probably in awe of him too, even if he hasn't said it totally publicly. I'm sure he's very proud of him coming in. And in some ways, he's very interested to see playing with him what it'll be like. Scotty, after he gets his first lob from Dennis, like LeBron was getting on the Lakers last year, is going to be like, wow, this is what LeBron's been doing with him. It could be very well like that. Part of the fun and the bonding between them is like, yeah, I'll throw it to you like I threw it to LeBron. And Scotty's like, ooh, that to him, that kind of stuff goes somewhere, because Scotty does really like have certain players that he kind of idolizes. And Kobe and LeBron are two of them for sure. That's the whole reason why when LeBron threw the ball at Scotty, he didn't react or do anything because this is LeBron. And it's like, holy shit, this is LeBron. So in some ways, he has that kind of child idolizing of LeBron still in him. So Dennis being like LeBron, like signed off, authentic, like you're the dude. LeBron's giving him accolades on social media. That can't hurt. That cannot hurt at all. That cannot hurt. I'm not worried about Dennis's confidence either. In some ways, he's had this confidence all along. It's just now getting paid off in a lot of different ways. Whereas it's not just like he's a journeyman kind of backup point guard that's bounced around the league with, made a mistake with a salary decision a couple of years ago with the Lakers. There's a lot of things that have defined him. Well, there's something that defines him right now that's totally different. I love how the Raptors just have good timing with signing people. This man has not even played for us, and he already makes us look good. That's seriously, like, he is not suited up for the Raptors yet, and we already get a nice shine from him, a nice positive, like, wow. It's amazing. Dennis has been a fantastic free agency signing this summer already, and he hasn't even taken the court. It's amazing how that worked. Tom Duke saying, since the time Dennis got that call from Darko and signed with our beloved Raptors, wow, I know, just wow, let's go. What's not to be excited about having this living legend on our squad leading? Yeah, you can't hate it. I'm looking at Braunschweig's Wikipedia page, and there's a section that says famous people from this area, and Dennis's name is in there with everybody that's like from the history. Like, there's people in here from like BC on this list of famous people from this area. And like, yeah, he's on this list too. Like, there's so many weird things, like Otto the Fourth of Brunswick, Agnes Pockets, chemist, Gunter Goss, journalist, Otto Harder, German international football player, Henry the Lion, the Duke of Saxony, and then DennisSchroder, NBA player currently with the Toronto Raptors. What's not to like about this? He's in history with kings and dukes and people that were doing science and stuff in that area. That's amazing. Like, it's amazing, honestly. His luster and shine is a shine for the Raptors too in some ways. And so it can't hurt. It can't hurt. Good Monday morning, Raptor Freak family, from Tom Dookie Duke Dookie Duke. G saying Earl Watson and Rico Hines putting Pascal on blast. Yeah, and they should. That's their guy. He's always been their guy. Just because Rico went to Philly with Nick doesn't mean he's abandoned Pascal Siakam in the offseason and not letting him do what he does with him. No, that bond is too strong. They are two of their biggest fans of each other. It's sad that Rico went with him, but Darko didn't want Rico on our squad. So Rico needed a job still. Nick said, hey, come to us. It's too bad. In some ways, I wonder if Darko could have kept him, but in some ways, it's better for Darko to start with a clean slate of his own people that he knows he can trust, and nobody that was coming from before other than Jim Sand. Jim Sand's that kind of guy. He's just dutiful, very loyal, and just good for continuity to an extent. But they had to clear house. They had to get all of them out. In some ways, I wish they had kept Earl Watson, because I don't hear that he's taking a job with anybody at this point. And I'm wondering if he's just floating loose at this point. Maybe he's going to go coach college or something soon, or something else is going to happen with him. But I haven't heard him get hired by anyone. He's not hired by Nick, and he's not hired by Adrian. So I don't know if anybody actually hired Earl Watson right now, if he's just floating free agency right now as a coach. So I'm wondering, like, I guess if he was part of the problem, David Thorpe said he should have been hired as the coach. I don't know. I don't know why Earl couldn't stay on. Maybe, once again, it's just a clean slate, and Darko wants his own people. That's what it is. Cool Cat saying Raptors is going to be a sleeper team this season. OG Scotty will be making a jump to help Pascal. Our bench is much better. We will be better. Yeah, I love this proclamation by Cool Cat, and I believe it too. That in some ways on the download, we did get a lot better this summer. People may not realize it. They may see the downgrades. They may see us losing Fred, and they're like, oh, the Raptors aren't going to be as good. But a lot of people that are Raptors fans are understanding sometimes there's addition by subtraction. And some of the things that Fred will open up for other people and opportunities, it may be very, very fruitful. Let's just put it that way. Like I said, if Dennis is going to bring the ball up the court at a more higher tempo and better pace, this could be really good for us with getting easier baskets because we're pushing it better. Fred, in some ways, does not push the ball. He's very much a half court kind of like basketball player. He's a half court kind of guy. Well, we want more of a guy who can get in the full court and the fast break better than Fred used to be able to. And that's what I'm excited about with Dennis. He'll push the ball and he'll get guys running with him. And woo, look out for the fast breaks with some of the lobs that might be coming this year with the Raptors. I think that people will sleep on us. I think people will underestimate us as usual, and we're going to surprise them. I think Cool Cat's right. Kareem Thomas is saying we are still flying under the radar. The NBA won't know what hit them. Our roster from the top all the way down, we're really deep. Yeah, I think so. I think that the deepness will be dependent on the coach and the gatekeeping between the bench and the starters. If he can allow like 10 of our guys to feel like a really solid contributors in a very way that they feel confident, that's part of the problem. You could have 8 guys that you play regularly, basically the starting 5 from last year, and Boucher, Trent, and Precious. And then after that, none of those guys have any confidence. That's not a full bench. That's only 3 players that you can count on off the bench. And then the rest of the guys are like, no, you want to instill confidence in that 9th and 10th man also, and maybe even extend it all the way to the 12th man. That's the thing, Darko. Give these guys a feeling of confidence from being utilized and used in ways where they're successful. And then boom, all of a sudden you have better bench, better fleshed out bench with guys that are you feel confident about playing. Don't go in the direction of Nick. Nick absolutely shot the confidence of the bench on a regular basis. And it was a detriment to our team. Even though our roster was filled with very good players, he didn't utilize it right. People like to blame the front office for not having a very good team. That's bullshit. We had better bench last year than the year before, but they didn't play better than the year when we got beat by Philadelphia when Joel stepped on Scotty's leg. No, we played worse with our bench last year instead of better, and they had improved the bench. That's a red flag to me. People want to say it's Bobby and Masai's fault for not having a good team. That's bullshit. We have a good roster, and they're getting good players for us. This the coach was gatekeeping the bench, and the confidence of the bench players sucked for it. So Darko can do better with this, and I think he can, because you can look at some of the bench players from Memphis and just how much swagger and confidence they had. Backup point guard Trey Jones and different people like that. The way they kind of carry themselves and the way they feel. David Roddy, yeah, you can make those end of the bench or guys that are kind of semi-rotational players that show up every 2 or 3 games. You can make them feel real good if you make them get some good run where they feel like they're contributing. And that's what I hope he does this year, different than Nick, because Nick absolutely fails at developing bench confidence in players. So, we don't want that again this year. Darko's going to do it different, hopefully. Yeah, let's see. Cool Cat saying movement with and without the ball by everyone is actually best for Pascal, OG, and Scotty's game. Yeah, we want to see these guys really, like we've said a couple times after watching FIBA World Cup, we want to see these guys play a little bit more of a European style. With a European coach, it seems like this could be possible. With a European point guard, with a European center. It seems like this may be possible to do more FIBA style, team-oriented, everybody in motion, working together, and getting a lot done. Once again, our roster build is very equal. We've had a starting lineup that is all average 15 points a game, and that's a big deal. That's something that like a team like Germany or Latvia at FIBA World Cup had very good balance. It wasn't just Dennis was overpowering. There was Franz Wagner. There was Obst. There was Mo Wagner. There was a little bit of everybody kind of contributing, and that's what we want to see with this team. Once again, we want to have the options, and we want it equally distributed in some ways. I'm a little bit heavy on Pascal, but the rest of the guys should be getting the ball pretty equal as far as Gary, OG, Scotty, Dennis, maybe even, some of those other guys will get like shots. So I'm excited about it. The movement and the cutting and the presence of Grady Dick and DennisSchroder should hopefully help our spacing this year. Spacing was a big flaw in our team last year, and spacing will be a big, huge key to the movement off the ball and people getting easy shots. So I want to see Darko's schemes for movement off the ball and what guys are supposed to be doing. Wayne Strainer's here. Good to see Wayne Strainer. Raptor Freaks, we should be happy when they downgrade our season. Let's use the system. I'm not a gambler, but I will be betting on the Raptors and use the money to buy tickets to our games. Win-win. There you go, Wayne Strainer. He's taking a play out of my playbook. They want to do this. That means the odds are really good if we do better You know, it's the kind of thing where this time of year I start thinking about, should I put a bet down on the Raptors to win the championship? Because the odds are so crazy, crazy, crazy that if I did win that bet, I would get such a huge windfall payout that I'm like, maybe I should. I thought about it the year we won. And if I had done it, I don't know. I could have had a big, big payoff for believing in them and getting through that season and then winning in 2019. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In some ways, you know, we're on a path of destiny to win another championship. It's just keep betting on it, and that payoff will make up for all the times you bet and you didn't make it. So if I was a betting person, I'm not. I don't bet really. I would make this bet. If I'm going to make any bet in my life, it's going to be that the Raptors will win a championship every single year, because that one year when they win again, the next one, it's going to be a huge payoff because of the way they do the odds and everything, for sure. Smooth saying, good morning, all. Dame trades look to be imminent. I made a comment on Twitter that Miami got lucky last year and Dame makes Miami, Portland East. I was attacked hard. Smooth, do your thing, man. That's funny. Yeah, those Miami fans probably didn't like what you're saying there. You know, in some ways, I worry that they were going to have to trade a certain amount of stuff back to Portland, that it may be an issue. I'm very sure that if they do trade Damian Lillard to Miami, that Kyle Lowry is going to be a Portland Trailblazer. After seeing him at the game with Chauncey Billups in Colorado this Saturday, it makes me feel like that was part of the reason why I was sitting there with Chauncey, is because maybe talking about, well, if they do trade you, this is what I'm going to do with you, and this and this and this. That's part of the reason why I think there was progress on the Miami Portland trade talks this weekend, is because Kyle Lowry was sitting with Chauncey Billups at that Colorado game. So we'll have to see if this is going to happen, and it's coming up real quick. I love you sassing and riling up all the people in the chat with your proclamation. That's hilarious. I love that. You go, Smooth. Actually, I'm going to give you a dunk for going in there into Lion's Den and maybe saying some stuff and getting some grief from people for having an opinion like that. I think that's awesome. So, yeah, I'm going to give you a dunk for that. Cool Cat saying Pascal didn't have a point guard that can pass properly since Lowry left. Dennis and Scotty will make those QB passes. Alley-oop passes to Siakam with his speed. OG will benefit, too, with his strength. Yeah, I like this prediction. This is a diss of Fred. And I won't disagree with it. In some ways, Fred, I don't know. In some ways, I kind of just don't want to talk about him anymore. Let's just go forward. And we'll see what happens with him. We'll see what happens with us. But no, I get it. In some ways, I've said in the past couple weeks that the Raptors haven't had a true point guard, honestly, really kind of since Jose Calderon and TJ Ford. I won't even count Lowry as a true point guard. In some ways, he's too much of a scorer as a point guard to be a true point guard. He really is just like Van Vliet, a shooting guard with a point guard's body. And that's why I like TJ Ford or Jose Calderon were really kind of our last real true point guards on our team, because we've had a couple of small guards that like to shoot, and I don't count them. DennisSchroder is an actual true point guard. I know that he shoots a lot too, but he only shoots if he has to and it's the right decision in that moment. You have to keep people honest. It's not like he's trying to score 20 points or anything like that. He's more likely to try and get 10 assists than to try and score 20 points. So, yeah, I will agree with this. We're going to have a better point guard now because we have a true point guard instead of a shooting guard masquerading as a point guard. That's an improvement to me. I thought that the things with Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet were fantastic, and it was part of our look. And especially when we had both of them on the court together as a starting point guard, a starting backcourt, that was a really interesting period. But in some ways, it wasn't fundamentally right for basketball. In some ways, we're becoming a more fundamentally right basketball team with no Lowry or VanVleet on our team. And I'm all about that. I want to see this look of a real point guard running our team, because those guys aren't real point guards. No diss to Kyle Lowry. He's more of a quarterback than a point guard in some ways. Kareem Thomas is saying Schroeder is like Calderon, pass first mentality, and has way more of a supporting cast and plays better defense. There you go. There you go. That's what I'm saying. This is almost exactly kind of what I was trying to say just now. Jose Calderon's a true point guard. He was not somebody who needed to shoot a lot, but when he did shoot, he shot a high percentage and made a lot of his shots, but he really was a pass first guy. And that's the mentality I'm talking about. Fred was not pass first. We know that. That was very much what his haters told us over and over again. He's all shooting all the time. He should be passing more as the point guard. I can't totally disagree with them. But at that time last year, I had to stand up for Fred's honor, because these people were slandering him in the middle of the season, which is, I'm not cool with that. If these people are on our team, we got to ride with them. When the offseason starts, then we can be critical and say, well, how do we need to change the team? But let's not add to the noise in the middle of the season. It doesn't help anything. And that's what we found out from last year. That's for sure. Nameless is saying, let's get on with the season already. This break has been too long. I'm kind of with him on this. I mean, although FIBA did really help, but now I'm like looking at the next 3 weeks and I'm like, man, I got to get to the preseason. I got to get to training camp. I got to get there. And I've got to figure out stuff for every single day of the week up until then. Some ways, I'll be doing stuff like the Golden Book today just to kind of get there. Some of the content that I'll do leading up to training camp may be kind of like oriented on specific Raptors. Like I did a Chris Boucher St. Lucia one. I did a Scotty Barnes Condo one last week, and now I'm doing a Dennis Golden Book one. Well, maybe I'll do an OG-centric one soon. I'll do a Pascal-centric one. I'll do different centric ones around specific Raptors leading up. Kind of that's kind of what I do at this time of year is kind of that to get things ready. Maybe I'll have a question about that player for this season, and we'll talk about that discussion or something like that. Well, I have to figure stuff out. This is a tough time of the year because it's the calm before the storm, and I want to generate excitement, enthusiasm about the new NBA season for the Raptors. But in some ways, I was telling Monique this yesterday in the chat, I think this year I'm not going to pick up as many new subscribers or new people at the beginning of the year, partly because the media has already told everybody we're going to suck. And that, a lot of people are thinking that they're not going to be very good, so they're not going to tune in. So there may be less people coming to try and find the Raptors freak to find out what's going on with the team before the season. But I still want to try and garner that enthusiasm, anticipation, and excitement about the upcoming NBA season, because that is really a strong time for me to pick up some new subscribers and stuff like that. But I don't know how many I'm going to get this year, just because everybody's down on what they're supposed to do this year. And a lot of people are just like, I'm not probably going to watch the Raptors this year because, I don't think they're going to be very good. Fred and Nick are gone. That bullshit. So in some ways, I got to pep it up and get some people excited and find that enthusiasm about the season about to start. And we'll see. I'm sure there are going to be people coming in regardless because they're going to want to know what's happening. Country Kong's here. Good to see Country Kong in the house. Scotty Barnes, Twitch family, 2022. Let's see. Good morning, Raptors freaks. Lex, the Atlanta Hawks had an all-star level guard in Jeff Teague when they drafted DennisSchroder. When they lost to LeBron in the playoffs, they gave the keys to Dennis. There you go. Yeah, he's had an interesting career, DennisSchroder. Very, very interesting career. Very feisty guy. Very, very, fiery and very a competitor and really trying to do stuff. The more I've learned about him this summer, the more I understand why he's always been this way. It's just an edge to him, but it's a really, really quality, positive edge built on quality stuff, and not because he's a toxic person. Some people have worried about that with Dennis. It's like, oh, he's toxic. Why is he stuck on a team? Well, that's the NBA. You get traded a lot sometimes if you're not a certain level of player. If you're in that middle period of players, you could get traded quite a bit, and it has nothing to do with what your character is. It's just asset management between teams and moving things around. Some people are trying to use that as a label to label Dennis as a problem because he's been on so many different teams. That's bullshit. You can ask anybody who was in Atlanta with him, and he was in Atlanta for 5 years. It's not like he was there for a cup of coffee and he took off. No, he was there for quite a while. And, this stuff with bouncing between like the Celtics, the Lakers, Oklahoma City, and all that stuff, that was all just business. And it was never, ever because of his character or anything like that. It was more like salary caps and spots and roster spots and teams making tough decisions and this going in this direction or whatever. And that's where it's gotten to this point. Well, he's a free agent this summer. I'm sure the Lakers could have offered him a contract, but we offered him a contract that he liked and he signed with us. So I can't be upset. With how he got here at all. Yeah, I love it, Country Kong. I want to see more and more good stuff from Dennis in the Raptors jersey now. Cool Cat saying Darko is the new head coach for this team. Only fair to let Darko run his show and choose what he wants. Rico and Earl are Pascal development coaches. His work continues. There you go. And they can do this privately with Siakam. They have their own relationship, off-season relationship. It was nice having them around the team and being with them on the road. But in some ways, maybe there's enough lessons and enough time. Siakam feels good. Maybe, he can still call them, talk to Earl after games and say, hey, what'd you see? And he's like, oh, this and this. I mean, that's that kind of friendship and love between Rico, Earl, and Pascal. So hopefully this isn't a big deal. In some ways, it's weird that Earl, I love that they're so bonded and connected and he's there for him in some ways. I really do. Let's see. Kareem saying up 10 or down 10, our bench will be able to increase the lead or cut it down. We have so much vets and experience. There is no way we don't hit 50 plus wins this year. I love these predictions by Kareem Thomas. And he's very confident in our team. 50 plus wins. Oh, man. I told y'all, I'll take a 42. If we can just improve from last year, I'll be happy. But if we can get to 50, that's fantastic. 8 more wins than I think we can get. I want to get 42 at least. We have to have a winning record this year. We can't be 500, and I don't want us to be below 500 for sure. So if we can get to 50, that's great. We'll just see. We're going to have to see how it goes, and hopefully we can get some good chemistry, some good stuff figured out with Darko right away, and he can have success right away as a coach, much like Nick did when he came in as a rookie head coach too. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercey's here. Good to see Fiercey. Saw Sarah holding it down in the nation's capital, Ottawa. Morning, fam. Happy Monday. Saw a comparison on stats, Fred versus Dennis. Overall, Fred looks better, but the key component is the amount of minutes he played, which actually favors Dennis in the end. Yeah, you may have to do a stat modulation to to show what Dennis would do if he increased his minutes to Fred's, or if you decrease Fred's minutes to Dennis's, and see what those percentages would be then, and then kind of compare and contrast them then. Dennis does not play as much as Fred, and I like that. I seriously do. I want more equal minutes around the whole team. Nick was horrible for this. We've gone over and over again about this. If Darko can spread out minutes a little bit more equitably and not have guys get so tired in the games, I'll be so pleased with him. Seriously. But yeah, you can look at their stats and you can see different areas where they're different, and in different areas where they are similar in some ways. Some of the shooting is kind of similar with the percentages as far as like 3-pointers and different things with Fred and Dennis. But some of the other stuff looks way better in certain ways also with Dennis too. And when you really control the variables and the stats for the time period. Like if you get Fred's minutes down and say, well, what would he do with Fred? Would Fred do with Dennis's amount of minutes? Well, it would cut his numbers down and it wouldn't look as so good. Yeah. MSJ saying, I think Darko is going to have a far better offense. Doesn't everyone think so? Last year was so stale. Yeah. I felt like Nick was lazy with his offensive schemes, really relying on Trevor Gleason's weave method of flex offense, and kind of like relying on the players to make and create their own ideas and opportunities on the court. In some ways, he liked to call it free jazz, and he liked the players to kind of make up their own music. Well, we want a composer that's the coach, that's actually writing the music, and the players are holding instruments, and they play the sheet music that you give them. No more of this improvisational jazz bullshit that Nick Nurse was doing. Is like, yeah, Siakam, just take the ball down the court and do a couple spins, go around and make it, and stuff like that. No, that's not building an offense. That's not setting plays. That's not setting offensive sets up. Sure, you could say you did that, but you left it so laissez-faire, wide open to the Raptors to fill in the blanks about what the plays specifically will be in the end, that there was confusion and there was a lack of structure in the team. That's what we want, Darko. We want structure. We want you to tell them what to do so they know what they're supposed to be doing, because Nick didn't tell them what to do. He just said, go play, guys. Have fun, guys. Go play. And that's kind of how he dealt with our offense last year. I saw that laziness and how he coached our offense. Sure, he was really on it with the defense and fantastic, but very lazy with coaching our offense. Very, very, very lazy. Very lazy. Cool Cat saying, we are giving the core of Pascal, OG, Scotty a run this season to see how effective it is before making changes to the team. If the trio looks good, Raptors will go over the cap and keep all three. I love that. And I think you're right. Now, there's something that's been posted on Twitter, and this is something that people need to realize when they're talking about the extension with Siakam. is I'm going to read this verbatim from Bobby Marks. Pascal Siakam is eligible to sign a 5-year, $288 million supermax contract with Toronto if he is named to All NBA this season. This is similar to what he could have signed last year if he had gotten it. He's also eligible to sign a 4-year, $192 million extension with the Raptors up until June the 30th. Now, what is this statement saying? And this is for people that have been whining and crying about these extensions all summer. Like, oh, they haven't done the extension for Siakam. It's manufactured media chicken littling bullshit to make Raptors fans insecure or feel worried about Siakam leaving. I'm going to be a reality check real quick. You know, they've gone all kinds of crazy trying to make it seem like he's going to Hawks. They made it possible that he's going to get traded all these other places. He said he don't want to go nowhere else. He wants to stay in Toronto, and we will value him and we want him to stay here. He's not getting traded. And the thing about his extension is we don't have to give him the extension until June the 30th. That's next year. So listen, this is what it is. Siakam's going to play this season. He's going to try and make All NBA so he can get that big number. But if he doesn't, he'll take the smaller number and stay in Toronto either way. So this is what I'm saying to y'all. Chill out on the extension talks. I'm sick of hearing he hasn't signed his extension. He probably won't this season. And for very good reason. He's trying to make All NBA so he can be qualifying for the Supermax. And he can't do it ahead of time. It's not like time traveling. So he's going to play this season. There won't be an extension. So Raptor freaks, when you see people making content about Siakam's extension and worrying us, tell them to shut the up. Because seriously, that's not something to be worried about. Everything in its good time. And the ability to get Siakam to sign that extension next summer will be there. He has made all inclinations that he wants to stay in Toronto. He means that. He doesn't want to go play for Atlanta. He don't want to go play for Miami. He don't want to go play for Portland. He don't want to play for any of those teams. He wants to stay here where he's been the whole time, and he means that. So his loyalty, I won't question. Seriously, I can see Pascal, the way he carries himself and who he is in his life. He's not a bad person. He's not a liar. And if he says that he wants to play for the Raptors and sign the extension with the Raptors, I believe him. So all y'all that chicken little about the extension this year, shut the up. Because I want y'all to echo what I'm saying right now. Exactly. When you hear this come up this season, there's no rush for us to do the extension. It's in his favor to wait and see if he can get All NBA so he can qualify for the Supermax. And that is why he will not sign the extension before then. So if you hear bullshit coming around, whether it's he who shall not be named or any other content creators making a big deal out of the extension, this is all the bullets y'all need. Is it, well, if he makes it, he should get paid the Supermax if he gets that All NBA. And if he doesn't, well, he's going to get a sizable contract from us anyway before June the 30th. So, yeah, I hope that this Bobby Marks tweet can shut this stupid, dumb talk off for once, finally. I don't know about Gary. I don't know about OG and their extensions, but specifically with Siakam, we should not be worrying about when his extension comes or when it happens. Whatever happens, it's going to all work out for us. Trust me. Either way, Siakam's going to stay. Watch. He will stay. I'll bet you money he will. I bet you money he will. Yeah. Kareem Thomas saying the only thing I'm scared of is our shooting. That we missed the most open shots last year. If we can clean that up, we are unstoppable. Yeah. In some ways, we need to get confidence with our shooting. In some ways, our players need to be confident in each other with our shooting. In some ways, Darko needs to set up the guys in the best possible position to be successful with our shooting. In some ways, part of it is that half-ass offense that Nick gave us means they have to try and beat guys while making the shot at the same time. Sometimes they're taking shots with the people in their face. Sometimes they're taking shots with double teams coming at them. Sometimes they're too wide open and they miss the shot because they're too wide open. We got to find that balance. And some of it is confidence and trust in each other. Some of it is delivering the ball in the right way to each other so that we catch it and have the highest probability of being successful in making the shot. There's a lot of different factors in it. I hope that Darko is a coach that's conducive to having a better shooting percentage because he has a better offensive set, which allows them to have higher percentage shots. And that's what we want to see for sure. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay's here. Good to see Shaq Lindsay. Love Shaq. That's where it's at. Love Shaq. Flynn is going to be so important for us this year as pick and pop shooter. Flynn can basically do the same as Fred with less volume. Interesting. Interesting. I love this. Every once in a while we forget about Malachi Flynn and we don't talk about him. In some ways, I'm curious to see what happens with him. Could he be somehow unlocked by Darko? We speculated this a couple times this summer that maybe he can get some good feelings like Tyus Jones or Desmond Bain from Darko Rajakovic. I don't know. I have no expectations with Malachi. Every single year, I'm like, we could cut Malachi and I wouldn't be upset. But then also, could this be the year of Malachi finally busting out and doing something amazing? I have no confidence either way. Whatever happens with him, I'll be like pleasantly surprised. If he's not on the team this year, also, I'll be like not surprised either. So there's a couple of ways this can go. I hope you're right. I wish him well and I want him to do well. But in some ways, I'm also kind of like getting tired of him being on a roster and being in this situation. Now, we will know if it's a difference between Nick Nurse to Darko Rajakovic that helps Malachi right away. And in some ways, that may tell me whether he's worthwhile to hold on to or not. If Darko can get stuff out of him that Nick couldn't, then yeah, I'd like to keep him. But if we're seeing the same kind of stuff from him over this year too, I'm like, why are we still holding on to this guy? What blackmail does Eric Flynn have on the Toronto Raptors front office that makes them keep this guy when we have a roster spot that we could turn around and maybe put somebody else in that may be more fruitful for us? I don't know. I still think Iceman like Gervin might have been Eric Flynn. Seriously, I think that was Eric Flynn because he was from Tacoma and he's a coach and he got all mad at us when I was like saying, oh, this isn't about like, measuring your coaching experience against each other. We're all here just kind of being like friendly. And he got really mad about that. In some ways, I think that Iceman like Gervin might be Eric Flynn. That's a theory I have, seriously, because he was talking about Eric Flynn a lot too. Canadian Dana's here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Canadian Dana. Less than a month till our first televised preseason game. Yes. I'll be doing previews and reactions. We'll have the ref report. We'll have all the good fun stuff that I normally do for the games coming back at us again. It's going to be so much fun. I miss it. I really do love doing the previews for games, and then the reactions afterwards are always fun to talk about games afterwards with you guys. Yeah, I'm excited about this season. I really am. Country Kong saying, I don't think we can compare Fred and Kyle. Fred is a shooting guard who was willing to advance the ball for the Raptors. Kyle was aggressive offensively, but he was a galvanizing floor general. Mavs 30-point comeback. I get what you're saying. And in some ways, you're right. They're on different levels of certain things, but also at the same time, they're kind of the same position. That's what I'm saying. We got away with playing 2 point guards as 2 shooting guards, honestly, in a lot of ways. Sure, Kyle passes. He's got really good passing instincts. But also at the same time, he is a shoot first kind of guy also. And that's really the distinction I'm making. So I'm not saying Kyle's not a great assist guy and he makes passes, but he's more likely to want to shoot it himself sometimes than pass it and give it to somebody else also. So I'm not trying to diss Kyle by saying this the same as Fred. There's levels to this between the two of them, but also at the same time, they're both still point guards that are really shooting guards to me. In some ways, yeah, we can say Kyle's this and that, but his evolution as a player, he really was kind of a very selfish player offensively when he was young. And then he, in some ways, he became more and more of a playmaker in certain ways. But still, he's not a true point guard. That you can't call Kyle Lowry a true point guard. You really just can't. You can't. Mo's saying, love the news that Bobby Marks report on Pascal's eligibility. I know this is good. And like I said, this is education for Raptors fans to know to not listen to any of Pascal extension rumors or bullshit. Seriously, let's just kill them right now. Kill them right now with that tweet that we can sign him at any point up until June 30th. And that's a lot of time. And we will make that decision and we'll make it fit and we'll make it work. We'll pay him however much we can pay him the most we can. If he makes all NBA, it's way more. If it isn't, he doesn't make all NBA. Well, he's at the end of his contract. He has to sign a new one. I'm sure he won't mind signing the regular money to come back here. He's probably going to really want the Supermax. He's going to work his ass off to get it this year. But in some ways, if he doesn't earn it and he doesn't get it, well, I'm sure he will take the money that we have to offer him at the other level. It's not like they can pay him more somewhere else. So it's like he's going to get paid more here either way, whether he gets all NBA or not. So let's see. Cowboys here. Good morning, Lex, Bam, and the Raptor Freaks. Good morning to Monique, the Raptors, OG, Dennis, Pascal, Scotty, Jakob, Darko. I see Darko's reappeared in our emotes here. Yes. MSJ saying, yes, per 36, Dennis has a bit better. That's the stats you got to look at. Per 36 stats between Fred and Dennis, and compare them at that per 36 minutes. And there you go. That'll be a more clear picture of the difference in efficiency and production between Fred VanVleet and DennisSchroder. Cool Cat saying Fred has the strengths and talent on the team. We are not discounting him. We're just moving forward in our assessment of our new point guard. We thank Fred, our NBA championship champion, forever one of us. That's right. Cool Cat giving respect and honor to Fred. And that's right. We're not trying to discount him. Every team, every player is a different player. And they have a different profile and a thing to them. Fred, in some ways, is absolutely incredible and unique as a player in the NBA and his path and what he's accomplished. I won't begrudge him that. But in some ways, he's also doesn't really fit like the proper kind of NBA positions. He's kind of an outlaw, a renegade that went against the mold. And in some ways, you got to really, really, really like appreciate that. In some ways, this is the thing. These guys are a long line of Toronto Raptors undersized guards that started with our very first number one guy, Damon Stoudemire. It seemed like they always want to saddle us with undersized guards. That's why they wanted us to draft Jalen Suggs. Well, we're out of that. We don't want to have undersized guards. You know, Dennis isn't super tall, but he is long and lanky and quick, and he has a very long wingspan for his size. He's like 6 foot or 6'1", but his wingspan is very long. He probably has the same length of arms as I do, and I'm a couple inches taller than him. So it's a different kind of player and a different kind of look. So I'm excited to see what it's going to look like with the new point guard on our team. That's the big thing. It's changed. Houston, you get to see what Fred can do for you now, and we get to see what Dennis can do for us. Wayne saying, sorry, Lex, you got to up your game. 42 wins may seem practical, but it's pessimistic, notwithstanding new coach and coaching staff. This is a 50-win team, not being bombastic either, but we're top 6. I love this. This is like a couple of y'all are saying that you think we can get 50 wins. Listen, I'm only saying that just because, well, the one thing that's important is we just need to improve from last year. We just need to be a winning team. I'm giving the bare minimum. That's the bottom. If we win 42 games next year, I'll be happy. But I know we can do better. I'm just saying that's the absolute bottom that I want to see. I don't want to see lower than 42 wins this year. I think we could do better. I'm just saying that as long as we pass that mark, I'll be happy with this season. Anything less, I won't be happy. I won't be happy. And yeah, I think we could get 50 wins. I may sound like I'm being pessimistic. I should have qualified it better. I'm saying that's my bottom. 42 is the bottom. They got to do at least 42, and everything above is great. If it's 44, I'm happy. If it's 43, I'm happy. If it's 45, I'm happy. 50, I'm ecstatic. Yeah, I'm ecstatic if they get a 50-win season this year. So yeah. And I don't think you guys are being bombastic or unrealistic either. A lot of people would be thinking that. Other NBA fans and people in the States probably think, oh, you think the Raptors will win 50 games this season? You're crazy. Well, I don't think I'm crazy. And I believe just like you guys do. So please don't take me as pessimistic. I should have qualified it. That's the bottom. That's the absolute floor that I want them to achieve. And the ceiling can be real high. Trust me, the ceiling can be real high. Kareem saying the Raptors revolution will not be televised in America, but it will be heavily talked about on YouTube. I love it. I love that statement, though. The Raptors revolution will not be televised. That's right. That's right. They don't want to put any shine on us. That's why we get the sneak attack every single time. It's like if we were a video game, our special ability would be sneak attack. Sneak attack, Raptors, sneak attack. You know, in a fighting game or something like that. That'd be our special ability. Monique saying Pascal is in Toronto. Okay, this is good. This is good news. We're starting to see some of these guys reconvene. Yesterday, they had an impromptu autograph signing down at Adidas store on Front Street West with Grady Dick. He was down there from noon to 1:30 yesterday. G alerting us this early. And I was thinking about, man, can I get down there in time for this? But I really couldn't with what was going on at that time. But it looked like it was a great event. Grady looks really happy. They took some pictures of him on a bridge downtown near this Rogers Center and the CN Tower. And he looked like he was just enjoying the sunshine, being in the city of Toronto, the feel of the city, being a rookie, about to start your NBA career. What's not to like? Grady Dick having such a fantastic day yesterday. You get to meet the fans, sign some autographs at the Adidas store, and then go outside and take some pictures in the beautiful scenery of Toronto on a beautiful blue sky Sunday afternoon. What's not to like, Grady Dick? Oh my gosh, what's not to like? That was amazing. So good. Cool Cat saying Nick Nurse's style of offense is for mature, experienced players like Lowry, Kawhi, and Gasol. Or we could turn around and say this, Cool Cat. Nick Nurse has to rely on veterans to make smart decisions on the court so he looks good. I mean, in some ways to say it like a couple different ways. Cool Cat saying Pascal's natural allegiance is to Toronto, where he has family ties. He has no allegiance to the U.S., unlike U.S.-born players. That's right. Fred has an allegiance to the U.S. In some ways, Fred actually seems like he's more comfortable being on the Rockets all of a sudden, partly because he's back in the States. I always worry about this with the Raptors. Throughout our whole history, American players will sell us out and stab us in the back. And that's why I love having international players on our team, because they're more likely to not stab us in the back and not value playing in the States. They may be like Pascal and saying, no, I love being here in Toronto. I don't want to go anywhere else. Jakob, same kind of thing. You know, we traded him away and he still has loyalty to us to re-sign with us this summer. That's the thing. In some ways, DennisSchroder, hi, welcome. You're German. And in some ways, you can appreciate being in Canada more than some American players can. OG, another guy who's very international. I'm just saying that is something in some ways when they build our team is an international flavor is actually encouraged. In some ways, Nick could have been a turncoat on us, partly because he's American. He wants to go coach the Philadelphia 76ers in one of America's great historic cities with the Liberty Bell and Benjamin Franklin and all that crap. So, you know, I get it. You know, in some ways, the loyalty of the Americans to America can be a factor in whether somebody should be around the Raptors or not. So, Coach Darko, hello, Serbian coach. I love it. I love it. Yes, I love it so much. That's right. MSJ saying that Kareem Thomas shooting was a huge issue, but if Otto and Dick can help and everyone else improves, they can't get worse. We should be the NBA average, I hope. Yeah, I don't know. I think that in some ways, all right, Nick kept saying this last year. He kept saying that, like, there's at some point it's got to balance out the law of averages. We're shooting so bad. At some point, we just got to shoot better. Well, what if it's this? What if we had a really bad shooting year last year and all of the good karma and graces that's supposed to balance that bad shooting from last year comes into this year and we have amazing shooting this year? You want to remember I said this today. Seriously, what if this happens? Like all of a sudden this year, we're like amazingly good shooting team, partly because of Darko, partly because our players are a little bit better, like Siakam and Barnes were in the lab this summer, partly because we added more shooters to the roster, like Grady and Otto possibly. You know, what if there's an overbalance? Like last year was every single thing bad with shooting went wrong last year. Missing on 2-on-1 breaks, missing wide open shots, all kinds of stupid shit. All that ball bounces wrong, basketball god stuff was last year. And this year, the good stuff, the good basketball god stuff happens. That could be very interesting because sometimes things have a weird way of evening out. And it's not only even in a game or a quarter, it could be over a season. Maybe there's a whole evening out thing that's got to be evened out from last year as far as the yin yang of shooting for the Raptors. That could be. Seriously, that sounds crazy. But seriously, that's the way sometimes luck and runs go with the NBA teams. It could very well be like that. Let's see. Yeah. Country Con saying, I've been watching Grady's highlights all summer, both Kansas and with the Raptors. Lex, some of the shots he was hitting on Osura Thompson were highly impressive. He can be a 6'8" Tyler Hero. Yeah, you made me do the Home Alone face. Kevin McAllister. I won't disagree. I've been hot and cold on Grady. I did not like him when I did the initial draft look around and see who was available. I watched his game and I was like, this guy won't translate the NBA. Well, I feel like I'm wrong. In some ways, Grady has that Larry Bird kind of like slow step, weird smarts that can work with timing, even if he's not the fastest. There's something weird about when he takes his first step. Like it's not the quickest first step, but he also kind of has a little shake or hezzy that when he makes you think he's going to do the step, but then he goes a split second after that, and he catches them off balance or even like off there's certain smarts to his game that I didn't realize he has. That if he was going to go basically on athleticism, yeah, he's not going to do well in the NBA, but because he's coupled guile and smarts with how he does it, I think he will be successful. And one of the things that's really going to be huge for Grady is consistency from three. If he has his mechanics and he's a dead eye and he has a short memory, he doesn't care, and he just keeps shooting it the right way with his mechanics, he's going to make the shots. He's going to make the shots. He's going to be like a Capono, like a Steve Novak, kind of like I make 3-point shots when I'm open. I'm going to make you pay. And I like that about him. Tyler Hero is a good comparison. We'll see. And some of it will have to do with his slashing offense and how he attacks the rim for me to start saying he's like Tyler Hero. But definitely, I think the 3-point shooting will be fine and it'll be good. Now, if Grady Dick ends up being like a Steve Novak instead of a Tyler Hero, would y'all be upset? In some ways, I guess, yeah, that pick at 13, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to predict where Grady's going to be as far as the caliber of who he's going to be, because I could see him being a Jason Capono. I could see him being a Tyler Hero. I don't know where he'll fall. We'll have to see. Alan Tam saying, I'll take Schroeder over Freddie any day and for way lot cheaper. And that's exactly what we did. Watch Schroeder have a way better season than Freddie also. Only Houston are dumb enough to pay Freddie so much no other team would. Bam, son. Bam. Bam! You just got Alan Tammed. I will not disagree with our friend Alan in any way on this. I love that we got Schroeder for cheaper. In some ways, that's really good GMing. That like we've got a position filled for much cheaper in some ways. And I think that that's really, really smart. And I'm with you on this. In some ways, Houston, they're dumb. Yeah, I'll agree with that. But they had to spend the money. It's kind of like supermarket sweep. You've got $5,000 and a shopping cart. You have to go out there in this grocery store and fill your cart with $5,000 worth of groceries. Now, if you don't get $5,000, you won't get the groceries. Now go! They're running madly through. And they're like, oh, there's the big Freddios cereal. It's like worth $40 million a year. Ooh, that'll really eat up a big chunk of the money I have to spend right now in the supermarket sweep. So you get that Freddios and put it in your shopping cart, and helps take up some of that money you had to spend. Monty, what was his name? Not Monty Burns. Monty Brewster, of course, Brewster's Millions. Yeah, you got to spend that money. You got to spend it. That's right. Alan Tam saying Freddie isn't even a starter. He's between a bench player to a starter in between. In some ways, I won't disagree with you in some ways. I was really pushing, if Fred had re-signed with us, that he would become our bench mob leader again and be our starting point guard off the bench. And some people were like, you can't do that. You can't demote him like that. In some ways, they're exactly right. You can't demote him like that. But in some ways, I would be more comfortable with him coming off the bench and leading the Raptors' second unit like he used to. Like, that's a great arc. Sure, come up, be a starter for a while, be an all-star. But in some ways, I want you to go back to the bench and lead the bench, because our bench was so bad and you're so good, you could fix them. But no, his pride would never allow that. His pay scale would never allow that. So, yeah, you go ahead and go to Houston and be a problem for them instead. Houston, we have a problem. All kinds of problems. Watch, it's coming. Yeah, Alan Tam said, bam, son. Oh, damn. That right hook. Yeah. Cool Cat saying we're giving Flynn a fair shot this year. No Nick Nurse to block him. Yeah, this is what I'm going to see. They'll take the Nick nursery out of here. We'll take the crib out of the playpen. We'll take young Malachi out of the cage in this floor with the building blocks, the crib. Yeah, no more Nick Nursery. Let's see if he can do something with Darko. Then we'll know. That's what I'm saying. If you don't do something now, Malachi, you can't blame Nick Nurse anymore, Eric Flynn. You got to, if it's the same thing with Darko, then I'm like, yeah, this may not be the coach. This may be actually the player of the sea. Cowboys saying, I think he will be better than Hero. Man, I mean, listen, these rookies coming in, they're making lofty. I'm glad Grady's not saying stuff like Marquise is. Holy crap. Yeah, I worry about Marquise Noel a little bit. Like his odyssey on space social media this year has been weird. In some ways, I'm wondering like if he's upset because the Raptors are kind of putting on Grady more right now than him. You got to understand, he's a first round pick. You're a two-way undrafted. And this always happens every time you come in. You're not going to get the same treatment as Grady Dick, Marquise Noel. I'm sorry. He's a 13th pick in the draft, and he's a first rounder. You didn't even get drafted, and you're a two-way. So don't expect the same stuff. You may got some of the same stuff with him so far this summer, but yesterday Grady got a little bit extra special treatment as a rookie, and maybe Marquise was jealous. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that too hard. Now, Grady went to the Blue Jays game also yesterday afterwards, and I know he loves being the baseball games. He just loves sports in general. And well, maybe he was a bit of good luck charm because now all of a sudden the Blue Jays have resuscitated their world wild card chances to make the postseason still. All of a sudden, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. Yeah, Fred is overrated. Bam, son. Oh, damn. Cool Cat saying, if we ever need to trade Pascal, we will sign him first per his NBA contract to give him his most money and then work with him to trade wherever he wants to go. Yeah. If some sort of weird thing happens this year, something happens and it is a sign and trade, he'll work with us just like Lowry. We've got that kind of working relationship with him. We love each other, and there's no reason why we would burn him. If this is what makes the most sense at the time for Bobby Masai and what they have to do, that's the worst will happen. There's no way they're going to lose Siakam for nothing. Siakam won't do that to us. First of all, he has too much loyalty, and then second, they're too open with communication and talking to each other that they'll get this figured out, like Cool Cat said. But I fully expect them to just re-sign with us and stay with us. But if it gets to that point, a sign and trade will happen. Watch. Cool Cat saying Fred VanVleet knew his time on the Raptors was closing. He even said it because we like long, lean, athletic type guys. Yeah, I remember that interview when he started saying that. He didn't fit our mold of Vision 6'9". He was the last person that kind of didn't fit it. In some ways, Dennis fits it better just because of what I said. His wingspan is super long. And in some ways, you can kind of like fit him into that whole scheme with a very aggressive Vision 6'9" of defense that Nick was doing. Dennis was really fit that kind of defense that Nick was doing, but we'll never see them together because Nick's not our coach no more. That's right. Yeah. Fred VanVleet's three-pointer shot being off for 2 years impacted us. That was his job. Gary and Grady are replacements. Yeah, that didn't help things. That Fred was kind of cold and not shooting as well in certain ways. His efficiency as a shooter was really bad. And that's why we were all like, why is he shooting so much? Give the ball to other people instead. Country Conk saying, Cowboy, I think you're right. I actually see a bit of Steph in his game, but I didn't want to say it. If Grady sees the rim, he's open, highly confident. Those athletic up and under finishes are Steph-like. I mean, I'm not going to gauge him or box him in on what I think he's limited to. Like I said, I could see a range. Y'all are saying Steph Curry at this point. That's really crazy over the top in some ways to me. But if it's somewhere from Steph Curry to Steve Novak, that's what I'm saying. He could be Steve Novak, and that's it too. So there's different levels to this. It could be Cool Cat saying, "Oh, by the way, you guys can thank me for the Blue Jays winning. I was the good luck charm." Oh, you were there too? Cool Cat going to the Blue Jays games. I mean, there's a lot of people trying to take credit for this. I think Grady being there was good. I don't know. Sweeping the Red Sox is a big deal. Anytime you can sweep the Red Sox, especially in the way they did this weekend to keep things alive and having other people fail to keep you alive also, that's just kind of lucky. It's lucky. I don't know. I mean, if you were there, that probably did help. Let's see. Trevor's saying the way I look at this team, they will be second in the East. They're going to surprise a lot of people. See, I've heard people starting to say second or third in the East, and people think they're crazy. In some ways, I kind of think we're crazy for thinking that. But hey, I love your confidence, and I'll take from 6 up. I'll take from 6 up. Once again, I'm giving you all my floor. I'm not saying this is how we're going to do. We have to make a regular playoff spot. No play-in bullshit this year, and we got to get 42 wins. 42 wins and a regular playoff spot. That's what I want for the Raptors, at least. That is the bottom floor. Everything can be higher other than that. They have to be at least 42 wins, and they got to get the 6th seed in the East. At least the 6th seed. There you go. Cool Cat saying Nick Nurse affected the confidence of young players. That will affect their shots. That may be a huge difference between Darko. He's encouraging, and maybe he instills like this Superman mentality is what he called it. He wants his players to feel like Superman, to feel like superheroes. He wants to empower them and to make them feel even stronger and better. And that may be a huge difference in what Nurse and Rajakovic do as coaches. Is in some ways Nick may belittled or maybe held like them back. Well, Darko's more likely to tell them they can run through a wall, and he may get more from that in some ways. I think that is a big part of it. Cool Cat saying Grady Dick will be a Klay Thompson before injury. He will shoot and he will play defense. Y'all are really giving him some high praise and comparisons with the Splash Brothers, Tyler Hero. Well, I hope he is closer to those guys than possibly a Capone or a Novak. You know, in some ways, he's already kind of set up to be more likely like the other two than the big stars. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll allow for growth or anything to be possible for Grady Dick. I just want him. I want to be pleasantly surprised at how positively good he is. And I don't even want it in big, huge doses. I want it in a little bit and a little bit over time, develop him right. And then boom, who knows? In like 3 years, he could be a starter and one of our most important scorers. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this develops. I'm not going to get ahead of myself and put too much pressure on thinking he's going to be like Klay or Steph. But if he's more like those 3 guys, and Tyler Hero is what I'm saying, and less like just a carbon copies, a one-dimensional three-point shooter like a Jason Capono, I'll be happy. I'll be happy. I will be happy if he's more fleshed out and rounded. And I think this stuff going to the basket will make him better than Capono just in itself. Shaq Lindsay saying, Dennis needs to be in the second unit. I don't think Gary Trent and Grady can play together because of the defense. Well, first of all, I don't know about that. Grady's defense is interesting. I'm not going to say he's a bad defender. He's actually very attentive, and his feet are always moving, and he's dogged. And in some ways he may be able to get beat by a quick first step or maybe some size or something. And in some ways we can hide him on defense to give him assignments that benefit his strengths. But I don't know if this is true. I think Gary's an exceptional defensive player at this point since he joined the Raptors. And he's perfectly fine off the bench as the scorer. I mean, I get it. That's kind of the thing I'm trying to figure out and see what Darko's going to do. Is he going to start Gary or is he going to start Dennis? Now, as far as Grady's role on this team is nothing right now. He's not even in the rotation in my book. He has to earn everything from the scratch, from the very beginning. And we can't just say he's going to be a regular rotation player this year. That's not given to him yet. He's got to earn that. He's got to prove that he can be a regular rotation player. In some ways, he may be a project that gets spot duty here and there. So I'm not expecting huge things from Grady this year. I'm allowing him to be a rookie and learn the NBA game. And, in some ways, I don't want him to hurt us because he's so new and he doesn't know exactly the NBA game yet. So I say you have a leash on Grady and you don't play him that heavy in some ways. In some ways, maybe you don't play him a whole lot at all. So we'll have to see. I'd like to see him get a lot of time at 905 to get that stuff figured out and worked out down at that level. And it's not necessarily about him playing every NBA game or playing a lot of the NBA game. In fact, I think he might be our 10th man or even our 11th man on our team with the team that we have right now. So don't expect Grady to come in and be a regular rotation player right away. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. Cool Cat saying Lethal Shooter has been working with Grady Dick over the years. Is Lethal Shooter his mom? I'm going to give myself a dump. Because, you know what, that'd be really funny if like Lethal Shooter like took a mask off like on Scooby-Doo and all of a sudden it was Grady Dick's mom, Carmen, instead. Scooby-Doo. Yeah. I can see that. Like, Carmen Dick has definitely been shooting with him and working on his shot over the years. But hey, I don't hate hearing that Lethal Shooter's been around Grady Dick too. I mean, that makes sense. But yeah, there's something about Grady's shot that came from when he was very young. And that's why it's so deadly, because he's really, really practiced it. And the other thing he said in an interview this summer that really impressed me was the thing that his mom worked with him the most on his shot was keeping it very, very much the same over and over again. Consistent. He does things very consistently. Well, he's going to get the really good results because he did it the same way over and over again. And in his head, that's what he's doing when he's taking his shots and shooting. He tried to work on it very being consistent. The motion of his body, the way he held his hands, his shoulders being squared, all that stuff is supposed to be the same every time. And that they were instilling that consistency in his shot since he's like 6 or 7 years old. So that's a big part of the secret is Carmen Dick was a proven shooter from her time as a professional basketball player. And she really taught Grady how to shoot consistently, like the same shot over and over again. That's the most important thing if you want to be a really good shooter, is have that muscle memory and a very set shot that doesn't change much. If you're consistent, it will make it very good and make you a real shooter. Country Kong saying, I would be upset if Grady Dick plays like Raptors legend Steve Novak or Jason Capono. I think he's a lot more mobile, similar to Anthony Parker or a young Mo Pete. We passed on Keontae and Cam, so he better be. I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just kind of giving the range. And I may be upset if he just amounts to like a Steve Novak also. I'm just saying that's kind of the bottom. That's the bottom there. Novak. And I'm doing a lot of floors right now. That's the bottom is Novak and Capono. We'd like that. If he's more like Anthony Parker, would you take that? If he's a level like Anthony Parker, that's pretty damn good, honestly. Anthony Parker was kind of underrated, and he was like one of our second or third scorers for those Raptor teams at that time with Chris Bosh. So I don't know. And I get it. You're going to be looking at these other guys. Don't worry about Cam Whitmore. So many teams passed on Cam Whitmore. Don't use him. But we'll definitely look at Keontae George and Jordan Hawkins as far as what they're doing with their careers. It's going to be hard not to compare those two because they were both drafted after Grady Dick. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, Country Kong. I will be disappointed, too, if he only ends up like a Capono. But I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. In realistic terms, we may need to be ready just in case that this career ends up like that. Capono's career wasn't that bad. I think he won the 30-point shootout. And a couple times, I think. And didn't he get a championship at some point? I mean, he was a key player, but a role player and very much a certain role for him. Shaq Lindsay saying GTJ plays better. Hang on, let's see. Let me see. It jumped ahead. GTJ plays better with the starters like Scotty, Pascal, and OG. He just needs to learn to pass more. New coaching will improve that area. I'm not against Gary starting. But in some ways, I like him coming off the bench better because we need more scoring punch off the bench. I thought our team was better last year when Gary came off the bench. And in some ways, Gary didn't he wasn't hurting to come off the bench or start. He was the same, which is great because that kind of flexibility for a player like him is really good. It's like, somebody's not able to play one night. We load manage Pascal one night. Gary can be in the starting lineup. But in some ways, I really do like him as our sixth man and our first guy off the bench to make sure our bench unit has scoring. I hated how Nick put all the eggs in one basket with the starters. The absolute top 5 most talented players were always starting, and our bench couldn't score. That's part of the reason why our bench sucked too. So I'm a big believer in you don't put your best 5 players in the starting lineup. You take some of your offensive weapons and put them in that bench unit too, because you're going to need people that can score consistently off your bench also. You have all your best scorers in the starting lineup. Well, you get what Nick Nurse had. No bench production in points. So that's part of the reason why I like Gary coming off the bench. And also, once again, this doesn't mean he gets less minutes. He can get a lot of minutes off the bench, and it can also mean that he finishes games and plays in those clutch minutes. Starting and bench is such a bigger deal these days than it used to be. People made such a big deal about whether you start or not in today's NBA. And I really blame the youngsters really overthinking this. It's stupid. There's so many great players that were 6 men their whole entire careers that were absolutely fantastic. Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams, Kevin McHale, for Pete's sake. Hall of Famer and top 75 player. Kevin McHale was a bench player. He was a six man. He didn't start. So this is what I'm saying. There's no problem with not starting. And in some ways, we want Dennis's leadership from the start of the game in certain ways. So I don't know. We'll have to see how Darko does it. I don't know how he's going to do it. He could start Gary over Dennis. He could do something totally different and weird and start Malachi all of a sudden. I don't know. It's Darko's decisions to make. Yeah. Wayne's saying pundits love trade talk. We as fans should only engage when trade talks involve Deadwood on our team. Knowledgeable fans don't want their best productive players traded. Stupid verbiage. There's just too much of it. There's so much bullshit content. Trevor J, I love you, man. I love you, but you're filling up our chat with a lot of bullshit content. In some ways, it's annoying me because like some of it is not good content. I want you to kind of get a better quality to what you're posting in some ways. And some of this stuff is just not good. I go and look at it and I'm like, holy crap, this is a waste of my time. So please refrain from trade rumor posts in our Raptor Freak family Facebook places. Just trying to try and give us good, meaty, good stuff. You see the stuff that Monique and I are posting. We want more quality and less of the fluff bullshit. I love your coverage of the WNBA stuff, but less of the rumor stuff and less of the content that is kind of just bullshit like Wayne's describing. Trade talk bullshit. I'm sick of the trade talk bullshit, whether it's about OG, Scotty, Pascal, whoever. In some ways, Wayne's exactly right. That it's just dead, dumb, like it's tired bullshit they're making up. I'd much rather make up content like I am on good accomplishments like the Golden Book today than making up some content today about this is a trade rumor between Atlanta, Portland, and Toronto, where Pascal Siakam goes to Atlanta and the Trailblazers trade us, Damon Lillard. I can talk about all this shit till I'm blue in the face, but what's the point? That shit isn't going to happen. And why are we talking about it? So it's just a waste of time. I don't want to waste y'all's time. And please don't waste my time with that kind of stuff. So let's get a better quality to the content we're reviewing or looking at as Raptor Freaks. And when you find it's like what Wayne's describing here, yeah, it's like I don't have time for this place anymore. There's a lot of places I don't go look at anymore for Raptors content because I've found out they're just clickbaity. Raptors Rapture. A lot of clickbaity bullshit on there. A lot of different sites for Raptors fans that are just not worth anything. There's no quality to them. Fiercey saying Raptors ranking between 4th and 6th in the Eastern Conference. That's what I like, Fiercey. I think that's about the sweet spot for us. We can get either 4, 5, or 6. I'm happy with that. If we can get home court advantage at the 4th, woo, that's great. We can get higher than 4th. Hey, that means that Milwaukee or Boston or Philadelphia or some other teams have not done as well as they should have, and we have ascended into those spots. Part of the problem with the prognosticating of the Eastern Conference this year is there's some teams that are on the rise. It's for real. New York, Orlando, Detroit. These teams have some promise and the ability to probably go upward in mobility, and they just see us as like, well, we lost things, so we're going to go down in that place. I don't see that. In some ways, we're going to be just as competitive. I hope New York is a dumpster fire. I hope that Detroit just continues to have Detroit problems. And same for Orlando. You know, I could see Cleveland maybe taking a dip this year. Everybody's thinking, oh, Cleveland's going to be even better this year, too. You got to watch out for them. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully Donovan Mitchell is such a fake for them right now that the hollowness and the fakeness of him shows through in how they do with their team this year. Because, I love to be 4 through 6, if even higher, 1 through 6. Cool Cat saying, Lex, I have confidence in Grady Dick's NBA career due to his mother. Yeah, I do too. It's weird. Like I told y'all, I've gone up and down with him. At times I was like, a very first impression, not good. Then we drafted him. I'm like, well, I got to trust in Bobby Masai. I want to see more of him. Well, Summer League made me believe in him more. And then seeing the stuff at the Rico runs, the little bit of Grady Dick that I saw at Rico runs made me really feel good about him. Because in some ways he was showing confidence on the floor with NBA pros in a relaxed setting, and he looked like he fit in. And he was making all of his threes, which what I really, really like. Plus he was making layups too. So between Summer League and the Rico Hines runs, I've come around on Grady, and I do believe he's going to be very successful and very good. Mischief saying Grady Dick's game reminds me of Larry Bird. In some ways, I mean, I guess it's easy to say they're white guys, but it's partly because they're both in some ways not as athletic as the average NBA player, but they still have certain timing smarts. It's about timing. It's not like Larry was slow. He was for sure a step slower than most people on the court, but it's about knowing when to go. And if you know when to go, even if you're a bit slower, you can catch people off guard. So it's like Grady's paying attention to body language and way they're holding themselves, or if they look somewhere to the other place, and then all of a sudden he's gone. So it's about smarts and timing. That kind of Larry Bird intangible, unathletic ability to beat people off the ball is it's very much timing. Let's see. Country Con saying Lex 42 wins sounds okay preseason, but I'm telling you, for teams like ours with winning pedigrees, 42 actually feels worse than it sounds. Last season was awful. We're too talented to win. At least over 45. I love what y'all are saying, and I agree with y'all. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying this is for me that if we win, we just need to improve from last year. We just need to prove that we're better than we were with Nick last year, and I'll be happy. And as long as we're a winning team this year, I'll be happy. I'm not trying to say we're going to win the championship. I'm not trying to say this or that. That's how I've been in past years. So this year, I'm kind of like taking a step back because we had a bad year last year, and I'm trying to temper my expectations to be realistic. I know I'm one of the most positive Raptor fans out there that will really, really sell them on being super, super good. But I want to just have an improvement from last year. And I'm not saying that 42 will be like, I'll be really thrilled about it. I'm just saying that that's an improvement. And that means we did better than last year. And we have to do at least that. We have to do at least that. Nameless saying Grady will not be a regular rotation piece this season. That's crazy. Gary Trent Jr. will have Grady's minutes this year. Yeah, I think that this. I don't know. You think that's crazy? I don't think that rookies should just be handed things. I think that they have to come in and prove it and earn it. In some ways, he's like the 12th man on this team, and he's got to fight his way past Otto, Malachi, Gary Trent Jr. to carve his little spot and get in there. In some ways, he's better off as a project with the 905 in Mississauga more this year than playing with the Raptors heavily. In some ways, we want to send him with Marquise and those guys, and he can run things over there and average like a really high percentage and get way more out of his rookie year playing heavy for 905 than coming and playing like 5 minutes here and there for the Raptors, because that's what he's going to do. You guys think he's going to play 20 minutes for the Raptors in games? No, he's not. He is not. He will be lucky if he gets 10 minutes in a Raptors game. So in some ways, it'll benefit him better with reps and more time and conditioning to play on the 905 and get like 30 minutes a game playing for them. So that's kind of where I'm at with him. Cool Cat saying, Lex, I'm talking about Grady's career, not his first year. Okay, I'm talking about first things first, because we can't build anything off of the, without the building blocks at the beginning. So he's got to start the beginning, and let's see how these building blocks go up with his structure of his career. So we got to start from the beginning. I don't want to get ahead with him. In some ways, I feel like people are getting a little bit ahead of themselves with Grady Dick and what they expect for him. Name was saying, that's not how we roll in TO, rushing our prospects. That's right. We don't want to rush our prospects. Bruno Cabico. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It may come really easy and natural, and he is a part of our rotation. I'm open to whatever it is, but I want Raptors fans to temper their expectations and their what they think should happen ahead of times, because they don't know exactly how it's going to shake out. And they may be disappointed and then whining and crying about, why isn't Grady playing more? Why isn't Grady? Well, because he's a rookie and he's got to go through things the right way. That's all. Monique is giving me the cutoff. Thank you, Mo. I love you for it. Nameless is saying, the fact is that we are so deep, Grady doesn't need to start. He definitely doesn't need to start. There's no way Grady's starting right now. No way he's starting this year. But is he going to be in the rotation? Is he going to be in the top 9 players? I don't know. There's nothing set in stone. Cool Cat saying Raptors are going Vision 6-9, positionless basketball. Yeah, we'll have to see this year. We'll have to see if we see more of that with Darko. He does like our roster build. He really does love the talent and the amazing players on our roster. This is something that's made him giddy this summer. It's just the players he's getting to work with this year. It's absolutely astounding. Scotty Barnes alone. Pascal Siakam, come on. What's not to like for Darko with the pieces that he gets to work with in his system? Let's see. Nameless is saying Darko is going to extract so much more from this roster. It's going to make people who doubt it seriously reevaluate their ability to assess talent. I could see this. Like, honestly, I saw right through what Nick's lazy coaching job last year. He really was lazy with coaching. If Darko is more intense, more on top of things, more involved, more like detailed with structure, we're going to have a huge benefit to it. Scotty thrives on structure. That's why he loves the NBA season. That's why he doesn't want it to end. Some of these players like, oh, the season's too long. We don't need load management rules. We need to cut down on the season. It's 20 games too long. Meanwhile, Scotty Barnes is like, let's add 20 games to the season because I hate the offseason. I want to just play basketball all the time. He's like the opposite of those kind of players. If he could have played a 100-game season this past year, he would have, because he was like, what? You want to end the season now? And I want to keep going. That's kind of where Scotty's at. He's like the antithesis of these other players. They're like, oh, we need to shorten the season. It's too many games. Scotty's like, we need more games, is probably what he's thinking in his head right now. It's crazy. Oh my gosh. All right. Cool Cat's saying we need Gary Trent for the bench so that OG and Scotty can get the shots. Yeah, that's part of it too. We need balance. OG and Scotty absolutely need to start. Pascal absolutely needs to start. Jakob needs to start, especially if there's a center. The other starting spot is up for grabs. And it could be on some nights we go big. What if we start Scotty at the point guard and we put Precious in the starting lineup? It's like Scotty, OG, Pascal, Precious, and Pirtle as our starting lineup. That's a nasty starting lineup in some ways. And if Scotty can get away with being a point guard and doing it right, we should very seriously consider that starting lineup with Dennis and Gary off the bench. Seriously. I wouldn't be upset if Precious was starting, the fifth starter instead of those two guards. Seriously, because that means we're going 6'9". That means we're going 6'9" right there. Fiercely saying, sorry to switch gears, Lex, but I'm still experiencing issues joining the Yahoo Fantasy League. It mentions not enough room in the league if all teams from last year return. That's weird. It shouldn't say that. It shouldn't say that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to remove a few teams from this so that this will make it so that you can come in and try it again. I'm going to remove a couple of teams that I do not see coming back for this year from last year, and we'll see if that opens things up and allows you to get in there. It should be that there's so many spots that you can get in, and this shouldn't be a problem. But I'm going to delete a couple of teams from last year that really aren't people that are around the channel anymore, and we'll just see if that makes it easier. Now, once again, let me put this in the stream. If y'all want to join the Yahoo Fantasy League, hopefully you can get in and everything will be fine. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the link. I don't have it right now, unfortunately. Oh, there it is. Copy link. Boom, goes the dynamite. Post it right here. So try again with this link right here. Anybody who wants to join our Raptor Freak Yahoo Fantasy Basketball League for this year. We've got 20 spots. And right now there's only 10 people in there. So there's still 10 spots open. So yeah, let's see. But yeah, Fiercey, I want to try and help y'all. Monique was trying to get in there yesterday, and she's having so much trouble. We just threw our hands up. And we're just like, we can't do this. She couldn't get in the ESPN league either yesterday. So I'm not sure. If we don't have enough people, Cool Cat, please try again to get in the Yahoo one, because in some ways I don't want to run two leagues, especially since in some ways Mo's just like, whatever. I'm not. She's given up on fantasy. It's just really hard for her to access, like you guys are having access to. Some of it, I'm wondering if it has to do with the Canada problems with news that's going on social media right now or something like that. I have no idea what the issues are. Yahoo Fantasy Sports has been historically very simple and easy to use and very easy to get into. And having so many issues getting teams in right now is weird to me, because I've run fantasy sports on Yahoo for like 20 years. And I've never had these kind of issues with people not being able to enter the league and start a team. So hopefully this will work. Taking some of the teams out that are deadwood that aren't going to be coming back this year. So we'll see. Fiercely saying, it says the commissioner needs to increase the new bet if teams are remove those not returning. Okay, that's what I did. Hopefully it works now. All right, let's see. Mo's saying, congratulations on 900 videos tomorrow, my friend. Proud of you. That's crazy. Well, you got to take 150 of them out of there because they're from my Kensington Variety VIP Club show, which I'll be premiering the debut episode of it on Wednesday, the 20th. We're going to go through the whole period of me filming this show in the Kensington Variety and Kensington Market here in Toronto. I did a convenience store show during the Raptors championship year 5 years ago. So it's going to be the 5-year anniversary of that show. I'm going to show those shows in order throughout this whole season. So you can go through the championship year with me at that time through this show. So watch out. I'm going to post it in the Facebook family group and maybe figure out how to repost it on the YouTube channel also for you guys to watch and follow along. They're dumb little clips, and some of them don't have to do with Raptors, but they really do have a snapshot of the championship year from 5 years ago at that time. And you'll see my reactions through the whole process when we win the championship, all the different rounds against Orlando, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and the Warriors. So if you want to go on the experience of 5 years ago during the championship year with me and what happened to me at that time, it's been documented. And I'll be releasing the episodes 5 years to the date of when they happen, starting on Wednesday. So in 2 days, the first episode will drop. And if you want to watch them and follow through the whole season, you'll get that payoff of watching me during the championship year for the Raptors in 2019. So yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, let's see. Thank you though, Monique, for the congratulations. I appreciate that. Kuberon's here. Sup, bro? How are you? Good to see you, Kuberon. Hope you've been doing well. And let's go Raptors. How about that? Yeah. Fiercely saying increase the number of teams. I don't know how we can already predict who will start and bench. Anything can happen at training camp and even in preseason games. Exactly right. Fiercely's exactly right. Coach Darko's discretion, what he sees out there, what he likes, what he wants to do with his plans. Some players may fit some of his plans better than others, and that may make some guys get minutes and some guys not. So we'll have to see how it all goes. The training camp and the preseason is a part of the figuring it all out, figuring it out for people like Jeff Doughton Jr. So we'll have to see what happens. Mar Smith is here. Good to see Mar back. Mar's a great Raptor freak who's been around the channel for a couple of years now. And good to see Mar just step in for a sec. Morning, Lex. It's been a while, but I always listen in. I'm excited to see what's about to go down this season. Let us know if you're planning on doing a home opener meetup. Well, I'm thinking about doing going to that Australian game on October the 15th. It's a Sunday afternoon. So if anybody's interested in going to the first preseason game for the Raptors, I'll probably be going to that game. So maybe a bunch of us can go and get together for that. We did this kind of last year, and I ended up going to the game with Adriana and Sue, and it was a lot of fun. David and Peter met us outside and hung out with us for a little while. But, a couple of us did actually go in and sit together. So if you're interested in going to the Cairns Taipans Australian League team against the Raptors on Sunday, October the 15th, that is probably the game we're aiming for. Just a heads up, Mar. So I don't know if I'll go to the first game of the season, the Minnesota Timberwolves on that Wednesday, but I'll be going to the first preseason game for sure. That's kind of a ritual I do now. I go to the very first preseason game and always try and get there right at the beginning of the year to give them that good energy. So Mar, stay tuned. And as we get closer to October 15th, I'll give you finer details on what we're doing for that. But that's definitely a game I'm probably going to be going to, just so you know. Fiercely saying Scotty may change his mind once he starts a family. Dynamics differ once you have a life event changes. You may want to focus elsewhere, but that can be on an individual basis. This is an interesting non sequitur. You're talking about whether he wants to stay in Toronto or not? I don't know. In some ways, I love his affinity for the city. The fact that he's bonding with a condo and he's going to be a part of that building. In some ways, I really thank the people that came up with this project, because this is kind of putting roots into the city. In some ways, if he has a vested interest in that building at Bathurst that he's going to be living in, that's a great thing. In some ways, I don't know. I don't even see Scotty trying to have a family anytime soon. In some ways, he could very well be like Gary and Pascal, and they're very much focused on their careers first. Pascal's hitting 30 soon, and he does not have a family or anything like that. OG, same kind of thing. These guys may have girlfriends. That's their own private life. That's none of my business. I don't need to know. But in some ways, I know Gary in particular, he could have any girlfriend or anything in his life he wants, but he is totally focused on his career. And in some ways, he sees like romantic relationships as a distraction that could hurt him from his career. Scotty may very well think the same way. So don't hold your breath on Scotty meeting some lady and having kids all of a sudden. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. If Scott meets somebody and he gets married, I'd be shocked, honestly. If that happens, it's more likely he's going to be like OG and Pascal and just be bachelors that are in the NBA, just living their life. But yeah, that could change things for sure. And I don't know. I don't know how it would change things with him specifically. All right. Thanks, Nameless, for the chat cutoff. Let's do the Instagram check real quick. Obviously, we got Kyle Lowry back at Villanova, and he's at his he has a Kyle Lowry locker room. They named the locker room after him, and they have his three parts of his career: Villanova, an NBA with the championship with the Raptors, and then Team USA in the Olympics. Love seeing Kyle Lowry, cool stuff. He's at Villanova taking shots and getting out there and being with his alma mater. So you got to love Lowry's ties to Nova. That's right. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Monique has given us a reminder that Raptors play basketball in just 3 weeks. I love that. Precious is back in North America somewhere. It looks like he's in New York, though. I don't know where that is. Is that actually in Toronto? No, that's not Toronto. That looks like New York City. I think Precious is actually in New York right now. Ron Harper Jr. is celebrating National Duo Day, and it looks like he's with either a sister or, yeah, it's his sister, Mia Harper. There you go. Let's see who else we got to go look at. Slim Duck posting pictures from his island escape to St. Lucia. He's playing Buffalo Soldier. Yeah, he's riding around that boat with that scenic green blue water and those big green hills behind him. I love seeing that scenery of St. Lucia. And Chris Boucher, loving it, loving it, loving it. Dubber Don's in a car somewhere. Yeah, I'm still looking at Delano's stuff. He's still Toronto's kid. I love you, Delano, even though you play for the Celtics. Yeah, he's in some fancy blue car, sports car or something. There's let's see who else we got. Scotty Barnes celebrating Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens 3-point win yesterday over the Bengals. That is a big deal. And Scotty's saying we get the job done. He's very much a huge Lamar Jackson fan and a huge Ravens fan. So he's putting on blast the great plays by them yesterday. I love seeing that. Grady Dick had the signing yesterday at the Adidas store, as I said, and there's the picture of him on one of the walkways near the tower in this Rogers Center, getting pictures taken, living that charmed life. Grady Dick, NBA rookie, he looks he's making funny faces too, but yeah, he loves being at baseball games, and he loved being at the Dome yesterday with the roof open. I'm sure it was a great atmosphere. Cool cat. Good things happening down there for the Blue Jays right now. We wish them well in their quest to get in the postseason and to kick some butt and bring home some glory to Toronto. That's right. We love you for that. And he had some fancy food also. He had some sort of dessert at the game. It looks like some sort of I don't know. It's like chocolate and strawberries and like some sort of crepe, maybe something like that. DennisSchroder is on his way to Frankfurt, guys. I seen him with his brother driving in the car, and he's driving from his hometown in Braunschweig to Frankfurt. So he's on his way. Maybe he's going to Frankfurt to catch a big plane and fly over to Canada. So we got to see this. And it looks like he's driving a Rolls. It's a very nice car that they're riding around in, the Schroders over in Germany right now. There's the Pascal clip of Earl Watson with a double drilling 2 balls with 2 hands and him working real hard, sweating, working very, very hard. Amazing stuff from Siakam, Watson, and Rico Hines. Love all the stuff that those guys are doing. There's your Instagram check for today. Yeah, Siakam working, Grady enjoying the Blue Jays game yesterday, and Scotty always representing the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. That's right. There you go. Fiercely saying, I mean, the fact he wants more games during the season, those with families may be pressed to come home during off season as the kids and partners want their presence. If you're single, it's different. Okay, that's what you meant, Fiercely. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, it's really because he just loves playing NBA games. He loves competing. And in some ways, he's not tired at the end of the year. This really shows something about Scotty and his immense strength. It was the same thing when we lost to Philadelphia. He was ready to keep going, even though he had been hurt. It's like you noticed in his rookie year, he got like more steam and played even better as the year went on when other rookies were hitting their rookie wall. Scotty's got some weirdness to him where he just really wants to play basketball competitively all the time. And that's why he was at the Brooklyn Bridge Park the other day playing scrimmages, pickup ball with just random guys in New York. That's why he goes to a lot of these games like the Powder League and, Rico runs and does that kind of stuff during the summer because he likes to continue to work and play, and he just loves competing. In some ways, he's on the computer, on the video game, competing on NBA 2K for the same reason, to get that fix of competing through the game of basketball. So in some ways, he wants the season to start in July or June. He's like, okay, we got a month. I got a month off. I'm ready to go back to work right away. And in some ways, he said that in interviews. He's been bored this summer and he's ready to start the season. He's very anxious, just like we are. And he wants that season to start. It's just the way he is. He's Scotty basketball. He loves basketball. And his proper habitat is on an NBA court playing basketball. That's what it is. That's right. Scotty basketball. That's right. Yes. Let's go, Scott. This year, a lot of this. How about that? After making big shots and bully ball. That's what we want to see this year, Scott. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. I appreciate it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and follow. If you want to be a member of this channel, you can join, and there are membership perks for sure. If you can, please join our Yahoo Fantasy League. I'm going to try and open it up, make it easier for y'all to get in there. I have no idea why it's being such a pain in the butt. Hopefully it'll get easier and fiercer. You can get in there very soon. Cool Cat, please try again to get in the Yahoo one. I don't know if I'm going to set up the ESPN one because Monique couldn't get in that one either. So in some ways, it's like I don't want to do 2 leagues if I don't have to. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. I'll be back tomorrow. Tuesday trivia, 9:30 a.m. Amit the GOAT. You better be ready. Fiercely Salsera, our current leader, be ready also. That's right. 9:30. We'll be doing the trivia questions once again tomorrow morning. All right, y'all. Let's go. Let's get higher than 42. I know that that's what you can do, Raptors. Let's get that higher than 6 seed this next year in the playoffs, baby. Let's go. Let's go, Raptors.